welcome back to Mask of the Slasher. Tonight we're doing a special episode from the couch.
From the couch.
What? Yeah. We decided to do an episode based on a true story of a very humorous story of the time when we met Michelle and Scott here, our friends.
Hi.
And when we first met them, just out of small talk and discussion, we decided to talk about horror movies for whatever reason, probably because that's all we know. And
Yeah.
So Josh asked Michelle, what kind of horror movies do you watch? And you said,
Zombie.
Yeah.
so, as horror fans out there, we all know what zombie movies, how vast that category can be for zombie movies. It can range from anything from Zombieland, which is a big commercial movie, all the way down to Zombie Holocaust. Any of that kind of stuff. So, Josh decided... What did you decide to let him watch, Josh?
Zombie, Lucio Fulci, Zombie, and Cemetery Man.
Cemetery.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just say this. I like a lot of far out stuff, and I was like... See, my train of thought is I'm going to blow their mind with this movie that makes absolutely no sense. You know, it's kind of like this... It's like this weird... I don't know. I don't even know what to say about Cemetery Man. It's just kind of this weird avant-garde almost zombie movie that makes absolutely no sense plot-wise.
Yes, I've watched it once. That's it. There's a reason.
And I should have known better on this now that I think about it, because I showed it to my roommates in Simi Valley.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
Yeah, because I bought it out there like Amoeba or something.
Yeah.
I was so shocked to find it on DVD at that time. And I showed it to them, and they were just like, "What is this? What did you just show us?" I should have known better, but anyway.
So, what did you guys think of Zombie and Cemetery Man when you watched it?
There's no words. It just was so bad. Both of them. So bad.
Kind of very random. It wasn't not a plot of anything to
Right?
to follow or anything. It was just, and we kind of found ourselves just going from one scene to the next, going, okay, what does this mean? And it didn't mean anything really.
Yeah.
It was just kind of ran. I don't know.
Yeah, you're stuck watching it to see if it'll ever get better. And it never did.
Like,
and
we
then
gotta
it
be
ended.
polite. We gotta be polite. We just met them. We gotta humor these stupid bastards. I'm sure that's
It
what
almost
did.
ended the friendship
Yeah.
right there.
Deal breaker.
Before it even started, it was like, what the heck?
Deal breaker.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always like, let's take things up a notch. What's the next thing, And so I was kind of like, well, I'll give them one that's really far out, and then I'll give them one that's really kind of gritty, and see if they like either. And they didn't, and that's fine, But I was just trying to. That was me testing the waters of what they'd be into, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
It didn't work.
No.
I thought it was some kind of a test, honestly.
He really was testing the
Yeah.
waters.
We were just like, what do we think of Josh after this? He thinks this is good?
Now, all of this comes after us discussing Josh and me when we go to work, and discussions that we've had with coworkers, even with family, as everybody just came back from the holidays and parties, and you see family and friends you haven't seen for a while, and they want to have small talk with you, and they see you're wearing a horror shirt or a band shirt that they've never heard of or something, and they're like, oh, what is that? And then you have to try to explain what that is. Usually, if it's a metal shirt of some sort, we just go, oh, it's like Metallica, and we just leave it at that.
And hope they don't actually go see for themselves what it really
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have to be very careful. So the same thing goes with horror. Now, I have another story. When I was dating somebody years ago, we went to a party at a friend's house, and they had a big screen TV, one of those old big screen TVs, like with the 3 different colored light things, whatever those were called at the time. And he put on Cannibal Holocaust. And for anybody not familiar with Cannibal Holocaust, it's probably one of the first found footage movies, and it is very, very graphic. And there are actual real animal mutilation scenes in it. They do kill a turtle, and I'm okay with letting everybody know that. Spoiler alerts, there you go.
Yeah,
because
don't.
if you don't want to see animals being butchered, then that's not for you.
That's a tough watch.
But back then, in different countries, it was okay. And, but a lot of people kind of walked into the room and just didn't know what to think. They were nauseated by it, and kind of it's a Debbie Downer, really.
It's a tough watch.
Yeah, it's very tough. So this is where you have to, with your friends that aren't necessarily big horror fanatics like you are, you have to walk a very small, careful line, very thin line with them, and make the right decisions on what to offer them or let them see first, to see if it's even going to be something that they would want to watch. Or you can have a train wreck, like poor Scott and Michelle have here. And then
We
they go,
watched them both.
yeah. And I actually let them, what was the movie I loaned them? Jonah Hex.
Jonah
Hex.
Hex, that's right.
Okay, so yes, that was a while ago. So I loaned them Jonah Hex because I knew it was Josh Brolin in it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it had more humor in it, and so it was more...
Steampunk.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
had the
yeah.
steampunk
I
thing.
love the steampunk.
And it had Mastodon for anybody who... They wrote the score
for
if
metal
anybody...
fans,
Like,
Mastodon.
Mastodon. And I knew that one would probably go over fairly well. And it did. You guys actually did like that movie, and not a lot of people did like that movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
Good.
If you haven't seen Jonah Hex, go watch it. It's great.
Yeah, and read the comics too.
Apparently in the comics as well. So what we decided to do is we're going to play the game of find out what our friends actually like, and to learn how to talk to your friends about these movies. So I came up with a few questions to ask to make it easier. Okay, so you guys watched horror before.
Some.
Some. What movies stand out that you actually enjoyed?
I can't honestly
But-
say I enjoy. That's a tough one because I don't enjoy slasher.
No,
Okay.
not slasher. Just
Okay.
regular.
Just
Like,
okay.
Then
It could
don't
I enjoyed
categorize it.
Poltergeist when it came out.
Okay, so poltergeist, things
That
like
was
that.
yeah.
So it's never gone into a deep dive like what Josh gave you in any way.
Right.
It's always been something that was widely released,
Yes.
easily
I would say
accessible,
that's true.
like
yes.
Zombieland and those kinds of things.
Yes,
Right?
and when you say zombie, the World War Z.
Okay, so that's where you start with. So you know that your friends and family, whoever you're talking to about this, has not gone to the weird trade shows, horror conventions, does not know what this
Yeah.
stuff is.
Don't drop them in the deep end like
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, womp womp. Okay, so you said you don't like slasher stuff, so does that mean that you don't like gore? Like you don't like blood and guts and that kind of stuff?
For me personally, not a lot of it. No.
Okay. It
Yeah.
turns you off.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like it's just ugh,
Yeah. Okay.
doesn't do anything for
And
me.
what about you?
I think that's true for me as well. I think kind of when I think of more horror movies, I think more of like the ones that are more spiritual, kind of where evil spirits or something like that, and it was kind of more, I guess, frightening to me, or more of a horror movie that I would see than versus a slasher movie.
Okay. Okay. So
If that makes sense.
there you go.
Supernatural. I like
Supernatural.
Okay.
supernatural stuff.
So not gross.
Right.
That's what we got to go with. Is
Right.
not blood and guts, which is my favorite thing. Okay. So then, what about like psychological? So psychological. What's a good, for instance, for
Yeah,
like a main
definitely
movie?
psychological.
Okay.
So like a thinker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you have said before that you will look at your phone at the same time as you watch TV, and it drives him nuts.
Right.
So do you have a hard time watching psychological movies though because you are distracted by your phone, or can you actually stop and go, "This is interesting"?
If it's interesting, I can stop and focus.
Okay.
But if I'm not really interested, or if it doesn't make me have to think, I have to do something else.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I am too. That's why I cross stitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a grandma. Sorry. No
Diamond
offense
painting.
to grandmas.
Yeah.
There you go. Diamond
I
painting. There
actually
you go.
thought about, you know,
Yeah.
If you're not interested in the movie, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of times you miss so much, information just by not watching the screen.
right.
If you're really trying to follow a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, it is true. Because my own mom will try to tell me about something she watched. And she'd be like, but I just can't remember. I'm like, but you watched it. How do you not know? And just because she's doing the same thing. She's looking at her phone or doing something else, or Sudoku or some crap.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, okay. So from that, you can go, okay, they don't like gory stuff. They want a thinker. They want something that has a real story to it.
Supernatural.
Supernatural, yeah. Not just not Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, Halloween, any of those types of things.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that actually has brains to it.
Well,
So,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
the first thing that comes to my mind is like The Conjuring.
I was thinking The Conjuring or The Changeling.
The Changeling is really good too. It's a little slower because it's older, but it has a real backstory to it. So it's something that both the Changeling is, there's a spiritual little boy that needs his story told, blah blah blah, and then The Conjuring, I don't even know what that thing was. It was the witch's spirit in the house.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a backstory to it, and this is something I actually learned recently with my own sister, that she likes those kinds of movies too, because you have to think about it,
Right.
and you get something out of it. Sometimes I just want to be stuck on stupid though, and I don't want to think, so I'll put on slashers because I just
Yeah. And the Changeling has George C. Scott in it, who is amazing in anything. As I said in a previous episode, you could film George C. Scott reading the phone book and it would be compelling. But it's also the fact that it's kind of got this mystery element to it that unravels as it goes, and if you don't pay attention, you are going to miss something in that movie.
yeah.
And it is a slow burn, but at the same time, you really you focus on it, and you will focus on it, because I think his performance carries that movie so well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, from that, I think that helps quite a bit. I mean, be careful with what you announce to friends with certain things. You just gotta don't show all your cards.
That's right.
Immediately. That's what it comes down to.
Wait a couple weeks.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, as a part of this episode, I did do a little bit more research on the psychological part of watching horror and why some people like it and some people don't. Basically, horror movies or anything suspenseful, anything like that, it raises your heart rate, it brings out endorphins, and a lot of people are, find that pleasurable, just like driving fast in a car, going on a roller coaster, being in just a stressful situation, and so on. Some people don't like that, and that's why I don't like to watch suspenseful stuff, is because I'm like, just get the hell out. Just, what the hell are you doing in this movie? And it drives me up a wall, and I have to do something else because I can't handle it. It's too much. But I learned this, is that people with anxiety like to watch horror movies because that it's not real. And that it's going to end. And everything's fine. And so on and so forth. So it's like, okay, and so it kind of brings you a wave of relief at the end of it. Whereas, real life situations where like, anybody with anxiety is like, okay, what's going to happen next? What am I going to do? And constantly worrying and thinking. But you watch a horror movie, you just know it's going to be over with, and it's going to be fine. And it's not real. And I think that that's really interesting, and from the article that I read that Josh is going to put in the description, yeah, so you guys can see it. They were basically saying that it's comforting to people with anxiety because of that, and it just relaxes you, because I will watch horror movies any day of the week, at any time. It does not matter. I can take naps to them. It's just absolutely comforting. Same thing with watching Forensic Files. Nap Central. I don't know. The more murder, the better. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't bother me, and it's relaxing to me. So I refer to things like that as a warm blanket, and those movies are usually Poltergeist, Silence of the Lambs, and The Exorcist. Those movies are my favorite movies to watch.
Great.
And just relax, because you just know, okay, well, I mean, I'm also not religious, so, The Exorcist doesn't affect me in that way, but I know what's going to happen, and I know it's going to be okay. Unless you watch the newest remake, then you just know it's going to suck.
It was terrible.
That was awful.
Why was it so bad?
I did watch that.
They actually did watch this movie.
I did watch it, and it was awful.
I
Yeah.
don't think it was all that great.
No.
Very
A lot of people
disappointing.
feel the same way.
Yeah.
So, so with that, I think that's pretty much it. I think that, we would just wanted to talk about this because we think that it is important socially, you know, especially, like I said, after the holidays, everybody had their fun, awkward conversations with people
That's
that
right.
they don't really want to talk to most of the time.
Yeah.
It's a once-a-year situation, and I think the fact that since the whole pandemic had never happened, people were inside, and they did not get to be social. And so we're all coming out of our shells again, slowly but surely, and it's very hard. And especially when you've been watching horror movies for 4 years straight,
Yes.
because you can't leave the house most of the time. So that's all you know. That's
Right.
our go-to in this house. So
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter what meal we're eating, nothing. Like,
No.
I'm going to watch this over my cereal in the morning,
Yeah,
like
that's
Saturday
right.
morning cartoons.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, anyway, I think that's pretty much it. We want to hear your suggestions of what you have. We want to hear your stories, essentially. What have you told your friends to watch? What happened with
Yeah, what
that?
was the reaction?
Did you have the same train wreck we did? Because it is comical, I have to admit. And
We're still friends.
That's
still
right.
friends.
Yeah, it was not a deal breaker, so luckily
I think it's
I
partially
dodged that bullet.
because they're only 5 minutes from us now. So.
Yeah, if it was
can't-
further away,
they
Yeah.
can't
sorry.
escape.
Exactly. If
Nah.
it was just across the bridge.
Right.
It would be like traffic. No.
Can't do it.
So, and then next week we're going to do an episode on found footage.
Yes.
Which I'm very excited about. I continually do research on this, and
Yeah.
I even told my own mom about it, where she probably was falling asleep when I was talking to her about it. But it was fascinating. So, if we would appreciate it if you would continue to watch these videos, share these videos, subscribe,
Yeah.
tell everybody else to subscribe. I don't care who they are, subscribe. We just, we enjoy the followers. Instagram, Facebook, and this is on Spotify as well.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see our ugly mugs
Yeah,
and
if
you
you don't
just
want
want
to
to
look
hear
at us
us
and just listen
in
to
my
our...
nasally voice, because it's so charming. So, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Anything else, guys, you want to say?
No,
No,
good.
we're
Well,
good.
thank you guys for
Thank you.
being
Yes.
willing to
Easy
do
peasy.
this. I appreciate you
Absolutely.
indulging us.
Yes. And if you want to see Scott, he's famous. You'll see him in commercials from time to time if you
That's right.
recognize him.
Yeah.
Let us know and we can have him send off autographed glossies.
$50
We're
for $50 for an 8x10.
On sale for $29.99.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Bye.